Greetings, Commanders, and welcome back to the Deep Space Carrier series here in Elite Dangerous. We're continuing to do exploration-related activities nearby our carrier, which is on its maiden voyage out to Colonia. The last episode, we didn't really find much in the way of exobiology, but we did. Let me see. All right, making sure I couldn't actually just jump into the next system. But we did find a nice little space mushroom planet, a couple of them. So that was nice. Got a little bit of cash out of that, a first footfall bonus, and we're ready to move on. Hopefully, find something else that's super interesting to find. My camera is a little high right now. All right, that's a little better. Hop into the next area. We are in the Asp Explorer this week, a true exploration vessel as compared to some of the other things that we've been flying around. I've said this entire time that the entire reason we have our fleet carrier is so that we can bring a bunch of ships with us and do a bunch of different stuff. Actually, I'm going to... I have been in a really bad habit of forgetting to turn on my lights back there. They do add a little bit of visual interest to my background. So I will actually pause here for a second and go turn those on, and I'll be right back. Alright, I will eventually get that as part of my mental checklist of things to look for when I'm starting up to do my recordings. I'll get through most of my videos, and then I'll look back and realize, oh, the lights were off. I mean, they don't need to be on. They're not, like, I don't have a set or anything like that I have to have them on. It's just, you know, I'm sure you agree it has a nice little extra pizzazz to the background of my camera, since I can't really run with the background removal on. So, yeah, it is what it is. Maybe over time I'll get around to start putting some visually interesting set pieces behind me to make that a little bit more interesting to look at, but until then, you're just stuck looking at my RV. Okay, so we're just searching around trying to see if we can find ourselves some biological sources. I'm getting the feeling that this is not going to be a system where we're going to find any, but you never know. Nope. Moving on to the next planet. Before we get too far into, or next star. Before we get too far into the video, I'd like to ask you to help us to reach our next major channel milestone of 10,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button. The number does not go up unless you actually press the button, so be sure to do that right now. Hit the like button if you want to help spread the video out to more people so that they can have a chance to watch the content. And also, when you're done watching this video, be sure to head over to the channel. We have more than 1,700 other videos on the channel at this point. Organized in a nice neat little playlist to find whatever it is that you're looking for. I play a bunch of different kinds of games, so there's bound to be something on there that you will find interesting. So be sure to go check that out when you're done here. Check out this particular star. Oh, unfortunately, only 2 bodies, which means it's just a binary star system and nothing else. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next system. My current games that I'm doing right now are this one, obviously, and then I also finally returned to Hunter Call of the Wild, so I'm making videos for that again. And I finally kind of sort of half-assed got started on, returned to my DCS World F-18 Flight School campaign that I was working on. I got into the heavy testing phase and got kind of burnt out on messing with it, and set it aside for like half a year. So it's just been sitting there waiting for me to get back to it. And I decided, you know what, to motivate me to get back into, like, seriously get back into regularly working on it again, let me start just making videos of the process of me working on it. And ideally that will get me off my butt and get me to actually work on it. Because if I can finish the campaign and get it all tested and ready to go, I could potentially sell it. And that would be an income, well, you know, a very, very small income stream. But if it's good enough, hopefully enough people will buy it to make it something that was worth the time I spent doing it. So, we'll see. I don't know. We'll give it a try. It'd be really cool if I could get it on, like, the DCS storefront and Steam and all that other stuff. Like, that would be really cool if I could figure that out. Start making a, like a Gunthrek Academy or something like that has just, like, I take some of the funds from from the F-18 campaign to buy, say, the Warthog, and then I learn the Warthog and make a campaign out of that, and then I buy the next module and make a campaign out of that, and just have a whole catalog of intensive flight school, flight training, flight whatever you want to call it, that teaches you how to fly the aircraft from start to finish. That's kind of what that would be a really nice dream, I guess. I don't know that it's necessarily something that's actually going to happen, but who knows? You never know what might happen. You never know what avenue you take that might actually turn out to be really successful. because DCS is the most popular and most realistic, I think, combat flight sim that is available out there, at least as far as people who are looking for super realism. I know there's other bigger games like War Thunder and things like that, but if you're specifically looking for a combat flight simulator, there isn't anything better than DCS, as far as I'm aware. I don't know of any other ones. I know that there are other ones out there. I'm not saying I'm not aware that there are. I'm not saying that there aren't other ones out there. I've just never heard of one that has been popularly described as better than DCS.
Fuel sleeping.
Whatever. You know what I mean. I know I belabored that point way too much.
Fuel sleeping complete.
Okay, we have a bunch of bodies in this system, so we'll take a second. It looks like it's all icy and rocky bodies. So rocky bodies, you know, that at least gives us a chance of finding, say, some 3 and 4 biological source planets. So that would be planets or moons. So that would be nice. So we got some geology going on there. More geology. More geology. I as always, I develop these really bad habits and forget to start things that I'm supposed to start. I keep forgetting to bring up Elite Observatory. Who knows what's in this system that would be interesting to see if I just remember to turn that on. That would be nice. Alright, so unfortunately, I missed out on that first set of stuff, but maybe something else here will show us something interesting to find, or maybe some biology. I would be really happy to find some decent biology around here. Not getting the warm and fuzzy that this is going to actually happen, though, because I feel like most of the time I would have found something by now. Lots of geology, and I keep hitting the failure of the adaptive zoom, which makes me have to stop and wait for several seconds. Okay, so on this system, we're pretty much stuck going after gas giants to drill down to where all of the rest of the bodies are. That is a mildly annoying process when you're not really interested in gas giants. It kind of forces you to zoom in on something you don't really care about, but it is what it is. Continue swinging around until we find that last gas giant right here. And its associated moons. So yeah, a bunch of geology. Didn't really find much in the way of, or didn't really find anything in the way of biology, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. All right, next system it is then. I don't know. It would be nice if I had more to talk about during these videos, but I've gotten to the point where I'm kind of reserving all of my topics for my live streams because, you know, I gotta have something to talk about while everybody's just sitting there waiting for the carrier to do their jumps. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, one thing I do try to remember to talk about every video, because I know there's a lot of new people who watch these. I am hoping that we can start to put together some kind of galactic racing league. Preferably with my carrier. Obviously, I would love to have it with my carrier as the base of operations for that. But the idea would be that, you know, people who are interested in racing would bring their racers out to the carrier, and people who are interested in exploration would add to their list of things to search for, awesome places that we could bring our racing rigs to go and do a bunch of racing. And I think that would be a really awesome way to add a new activity for people to do who are kind of burnt out on all of the standard gameplay. There's a lot of people who complain about the fact that Elite Dangerous doesn't really have that much to do. 1,000 miles wide, inch deep, blah blah blah, that whole thing. And my answer to that is, well, you got to come up with your own things to do. It's very much like Minecraft in that regard. You got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. So, my solution and my offering to you guys is I think it would be really cool to do some kind of a racing league or some kind of competition out in the black. Something that's away from the bubble, something that's different from what most people do. Something that would be, you know, just a lot of fun to just go and do that. So, that's my suggestion. And I keep bringing it up, hoping that maybe enough people will be interested in it, that they'll head over to the Discord and start letting me know about it. And then we can gather enough people to make it worth everybody's while to come out to the carrier and start looking for places to race. And we can come up with rules and regulations and all kinds of stuff to make it fair. And, oh, here we go. 2 biological sources on a, I believe, rocky body. Nope, it's an icy body. So that's going to be bacteria and fonticula. But as I have stated in previous episodes, I am trying to get to the point where I am not as picky as I have been in the past, because we need to make sure we're making enough money to pay for our fleet carrier. It's kind of important. So let's see. That is a rocky ice world, and we have some icy bodies. So everything here is going to be icy, which means that the only real potential we have to find anything here is a Fonticula. And I don't know. I don't know that I want to... We already found Fonticula in the last episode, and I don't really want to spend time doing that. That's a nested moon, is what the observatory is telling me. So I think realistically, we're just going to go ahead and move on to the next system, because there's a lot of Fonticula out there, and if I don't cut that off of my, if I don't set that below my minimum for what I'm going to go after, we're going to spend a lot of time going to find space mushrooms, and that's just not fun. So I think we're going to go ahead and ignore that. Like, if we get towards the end of an episode, if we're getting towards the end of an episode and I haven't found anything yet, and we stumble across some, I'll generally go ahead and go after it. But this early, we still have time to go through a couple more systems and hopefully find what we're looking for. Like, I don't want to really waste my time going after some Fonticula right this minute. We'll give it a few more jumps before we lower our expectations to that point. I don't really want to waste my time with that. Like, it's amazing when you look at the time, how much time it takes to just super cruise over to a planet, get close enough to scan it, do the scan, wait for the probes to hit, filter through the things that you're trying to find, and then actually get all the way down to the planet and then skim the surface trying to find whatever. Like, that's like 5-6+ minutes worth of time for a 30-minute video, where we could be moving on and hopefully finding something that's actually interesting to look at and is worth a fair bit more money. So everything you do in life has to have some kind of value judgment attached to it, and it's always going to be based off of what it is that you're looking for. So, yep. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. So yeah, we got a high rocky body or a high metal content world. It's kind of hard to tell based off of where the item is falling in the spectrum, but it looks like a high metal content world. Unfortunately, it is not a biological. It is not a biology sustaining world. So yeah, that is what that is. 2 biology. That's going to be a Fonticula, which I'm not really going to waste my time on. And we have another icy body there. And the last thing we have is another high metal content world. And unfortunately, it did not turn out to have any kind of biology on it. So again, we are moving on to the next system, hoping that we're going to find something interesting before the end of this episode. Kind of sucks when we don't. I mean, I guess I could talk about my RV, since I was mentioning it earlier with the lights and everything. I am in the process of trying to work on some projects for it. We did end up completing our walk-in closet project that we did, converting what used to be bunk bed space into a walk-in closet area. I still need to put up a door for it, so we can kind of hide the setup over there. My next project, though, before I bother getting to the door, I want to get the seating area situated. The seating that we have in the trailer is just ridiculous. It's janky and unreasonable, and needs to be. I want to install a full length couch in my 13-foot slide that can convert into desk and table space and stuff like that. Like, that's what I'm trying to get to for that. So that's the next project I want to work on. We'll see if the stars align and allow me to actually do that. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to anyway. 11 jumps, I can do that. Hop off to the next system, because there was only one body here. Yeah, and just, replacing little odds and ends, adjusting things here and there. I had I have a Victron solar, or a Victron Multi-Plus inverter. It's the really nice one that does the automatic, that does charging and withdrawing from the battery, and automatically switches from the shore power to the battery power so fast that it doesn't even turn my computer off. So you can go check out the RV channel. You can go check out Gunthrek Travels, the RV channel that I started. if you want to see a detailed version of all the things I'm talking about. But yeah, I bought a really decent. Was there nothing here? Oh, it was just the one body. I bought a really decent battery disconnect switch, but unfortunately it had a lot of plastic in it, and for whatever reason, the heat that was being generated inside that battery disconnect switch ended up melting the plastic inside and made it to where the switch wouldn't turn. So my solution to that problem initially was to just bolt those two connectors together with a big fat bolt, and that works fine. A battery disconnect switch isn't necessarily meant to be a quick disconnect. It does serve that function, but it's not necessarily its primary purpose. The primary purpose of a battery disconnect is to make it so that you can disconnect the batteries from whatever it is that you're trying to disconnect it from, so that you can work on it. So it's not really meant to be an emergency cutoff for things, because realistically, the fuse that I have in the system is what is supposed to prevent bad things from happening if something goes horribly wrong. So the fuse worked fine. The fuse didn't have any temperature issues. It was just the battery disconnect switch that I bought. It had a lot of plastic in it, and that plastic ended up melting because of the heat being generated, which I don't understand why. The battery disconnect itself had big fat bolts and big fat nuts and big fat and a big fat plate that was rotating. It should not really have gotten hot enough to have melted the plastic. I'm not sure why that ended up happening, because the big flat piece that rotates to connect and disconnect, it was at least as thick as the battery wire terminals, the crimped on battery connectors that I have. It was at least as thick as that, and none of those really get warm or get really all that warm. Like, they never get hotter than I can, I hold my hand on them. They get warm when there's a lot of juice going through there, but even then, I can put my hand on metal pieces and hold on to the wires and all that stuff, and it never gets so hot that I can't just hold my hand on there. I mean, it gets warm, but not like painfully warm. So I'm not sure why it would have melted that, unless the plastic that they chose to use was just really, really crappy plastic, and that's what caused it. But I don't know. I don't really know what the thing is. We ended up getting an all metal disconnect switch, just so I can make sure that I never have to worry about melted parts stopping me from being able to disconnect the battery again. Because, like I said, it's not. I'm not intending to use it as an emergency cutoff for my batteries. It's just so that if I need to work on something, I can disconnect the power in a way that makes it easy to do, rather than having to unbolt things. That's the primary purpose of a battery disconnect. For emergencies, you're relying on your fuse, because in an emergency involving electricity, you're not going to have time to go fix things manually yourself. You need something in place that's going to immediately step in and disconnect things when too much power is being yanked from the batteries. You need something in place. That's why you have a fuse. So I have a big 300 amp fuse on my attached between my battery and my inverter, in case the inverter or something in the system the inverter is connected to ends up deciding it wants to try to yank a crazy amount of power that, the wiring and stuff can't handle. I have big, fat, thick wires, like really, really big, fat, thick wires in between my batteries and the inverter. So I'm not worried about that. The fuse should pop long before the wires get hot enough to start melting things. It shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, that's my RV status as of right now. The only other thing is that we got mice. So now we have mouse traps on order. I'm waiting for those to get here. I got to start putting traps out and stuff like that, because I've been hearing scratching sounds around the trailer. I assumed it was outside because of how easy sound travels from the outside to the inside of this thing. But no, they're in the trailer. They got into some packages of chips and stuff that we had just kind of sitting in a like a lunchbox, and it was like, oh yeah, no, we definitely have mice or something in here. And then today, when I was out, doing the work on the property that I maintain, as part of my agreement to be here, I saw a mouse running across the lawn. So, yeah, definitely have mice. Got it. Oh, I didn't realize we already finished that.
Frameshift drive.
So yeah, now I got to deal with that situation. I really wish that we didn't have to do that. I don't have any ethical problem with killing mice because you got to get them out of your house. But at the same time, I'm not a hunter in real life, and I think most of us who live in more suburban / city areas just have a natural aversion to killing things that are furry and animal-like, or furry and mammals, basically. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'd be uncomfortable killing a lizard too. I don't know, but it's because we're just not used to having to do that. But realistically, you got to kill the mice. You can't let them infest your house because they're going to give you all kinds of diseases and stuff eventually. You can't, it's just for the same reason you got to get rid of roaches. You got to get rid of rats and mice and things like that because they're going to make you sick. They're going to make you sick, and they're going to cause all kinds of problems. They're going to cause all kinds of damage to your property, and it's just you got to get rid of them. You got to get rid of them. So, mousetraps it is, and hopefully we can get rid of them quickly without too much drama. I'm hoping it's just one. There's no way to know, though, because I don't have X-ray vision or anything to see what's there. But I'll keep putting them out until they stop getting in the traps. And then I know a lot of people who hear that are going to be like, "Aw, yeah, I know, I agree," but you can't let pests take over your home because they will eventually get you. Like, as cute as mice may be, they still carry diseases that will make you sick. You got to get rid of them. All right, we're late enough into here that I'm probably going to go ahead and go after that biological signature that we just found, just because we're running out of time. It's time to find things. With any luck, though, we will find another planet that has at least 2 biological sources on it, which would be pretty sweet if we could make that happen. So, yeah, we got some moons over here. I wasn't even paying attention. Biological 2, so we'll go to that one instead. Biological 4, we'll go to that one instead. Got lucky with that.
System scan complete.
All right, so we'll head over to this body over here, see what it has on offer.
Warning. Frameshift drive operating beyond
370. Well, for this, anything past about 2,000 light seconds, I just follow the 5 to 7 second rule. Anywhere between 5 and 7 seconds, oh, was that quick enough? I pressed the wrong key. Okay. Anywhere, I deactivate anything further than 2,000 light seconds out. My rule of thumb so far that seems to be working is that I deactivate the Super Cruise Overdrive between 5 and 7 seconds from the target. That seems to put me pretty close to where I need to be. Okay. I'm really a fan. As much as the irritation of the negatives that they put into the Super Cruise Overdrive are, the positive of it is really nice to be able to just cover several thousand light seconds in less than a minute. Like that's pretty sweet. So it's annoying to have to like manually control it and fling it around and all that, and the amount of fuel that it uses up is astronomical. But the speed at which you're able to approach objects now and escape gravity wells now is it's pretty sweet. This fate is pretty sweet. So we just need to get to the body over here. We'll drop some probes, find out what's on there, and then maybe grab a sample or two before we end the episode. Yo, what the? Why is it doing that? Okay. I'm not sure what that was, but yeah, we'll just go ahead and drop 2 probes here. I don't need them for something this small, but it doesn't hurt to do 2. I'm mostly trying to limit the number of probes that I have to fire at these at the bigger ones, like the 6 and the 4 and 6 probe ones, because of how long it takes the probes to reload. Now that I know that for the smaller plant, stratum on a rocky body though, that's gonna be the other green dog poop looking stratum. Well, it's not. I don't know. Human poop looking stratum, I guess. We found dog poop stratum a couple of episodes ago, so I think everything is pretty much in the same area. So we'll just pick the stratum and start heading down. Let's get the Super Cruise assist turned off. Okay. Slow down a little bit. I was a little overzealous there for a second, but I think I fixed it. Get onto one of these patches of stuff up at our 12 o'clock so we can hopefully find something interesting to scan.
Orbital flight engaged.
Slow down so we hopefully don't slam into the atmosphere. It looks like we're a little too fast. Yeah, we're a little too fast. We're a little too fast. Okay, that should be fine. Sometimes sometimes your super cruise just does not slow down fast enough to accommodate what you're trying to get done. And you think it's going to be fine, and then it ends up not being fine. Alright, the throttle is just refusing to respond. There we go. Alright. Down we go to find some stratum. And I have to remember on this ship that the exit of the ship is in the rear, not in the front, so we need to land just beyond any of the objects that we find.
Landing gear deployed.
So, we're going to go after whatever this is, because that's kind of cool. This is going to be our... Was there Tubus? I'm guessing it was Tubus. I don't remember seeing Tubus. I remember seeing Tussock, Stratum, and Bacteria. I think the other thing might have been Tubus, but I don't remember. We're about to find out. This looks like Tubus to me. It looks cool. It's like zebra Tubus. Well, I mean, I guess it's green. I guess it's more green. Yeah, Tubus compagibus. Compagibus? I don't know how you say that. But yeah, that looks kind of cool. I gotta come up with like a crochet. It looks like crochet to me. So I need to put crochet in the title somewhere. Tubular crochet. Something like that. I don't know. Come up with something interesting. I try to come up with interesting sounding titles that preferably don't sound like clickbait. I don't like being accused of clickbait. So I try to be fairly careful about the titles that I put in there, and I try to make sure that whatever title I give is, you know, it's going to be something that's actually in the video that I did. Because, you know, I have had people complain. I had people complain about one of my videos, at least, that they thought it was clickbait, and I was like, no, what I said was in the video was in the video. It's just you didn't feel like watching the video long enough to actually have it, to actually see it, because it was at the end of the video, and it was a fairly provocative title. It was a fairly provocative title. Okay, let's go here. So, yeah, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and call it an episode, because the amount of time it's gonna take to finish all of these is more time than what we have. We'll finish grabbing the rest of these samples tomorrow. So be sure to click the like button to help the video spread out to more people. Subscribe to the channel to help the video reach help the channel reach 10,000 subscribers, which is our next major channel milestone. Join as a member if you'd like early access to videos, among other perks, depending on which of the tiers that you choose. Or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with the thanks button. So again, thank you very much for your time. Hope you guys are enjoying this Deep Space Carrier series. Be sure to come back for the next installment of our adventure, and I'll see you then.